Stop struggling. What you're chasing is already yours, waiting for you to stop interfering with it. You don't manifest by force. You manifest by becoming the one who already has it. Watch this fully. Because the moment you truly understand this, you stop chasing life, and life starts responding to you. My friends, I want to ask you something right now, and I want you to answer honestly. Are you exhausted? Have you been pushing, forcing, manipulating, strategizing, trying desperately to make your life work? Have you been running yourself ragged, checking every door, pulling every lever, convinced that if you just try harder, do more, control better, things will finally fall into place? And yet, despite all this effort, despite all this striving, you still feel like you're swimming upstream, like you're fighting a current that never stops. Tonight, I'm going to tell you why. And more importantly, I'm going to show you a completely different way, a way that requires no force, no struggle, no exhausting effort. I'm going to teach you how to let Source lead you to everything you desire, how to move through life with such ease that manifestation becomes as natural as breathing, how to stop pushing the river and start flowing with it. And when you understand this, when you truly grasp it, you will never live the same way again. Let me tell you what most people do, and perhaps you will recognize yourself in this. You have a desire, a beautiful desire. It rises in your consciousness. A relationship you want, a sum of money you need, a healing you seek, a dream you long to fulfill. And immediately, what do? You begin to plot. You begin to scheme. You begin to figure out how it will happen. You make lists. You create strategies. You calculate steps. You exhaust yourself trying to orchestrate the entire universe to bend to your will. You think, if I do this, then that will happen. If I contact this person, they might introduce me to that person. If I work these hours, I might earn this amount. If I say the right words, wear the right clothes, be in the right place at the right time, maybe, just maybe, my desire will manifest. And so, you push, you force, you manipulate, you control, you try to make it happen through sheer willpower and relentless effort. And what is the result? Exhaustion, frustration, disappointment. Because despite all your pushing, despite all your planning, despite all your desperate effort, things either don't work out, or they work out in ways that feel hollow, incomplete, not quite right. Why? Why does all this effort produce such meager results? Because you are trying to do consciousness's job. You are trying to be both the conceiver and the executor. You are trying to not only plant the seed, but also to manually construct the plant, fiber by fiber, cell by cell. And consciousness is looking at you saying, if you would just give me the seed and step back, I would grow you a garden beyond anything you could construct with your limited understanding. But you won't step back. You won't let go. You won't surrender control. You say you trust Source. You say you believe in the law. You say you know consciousness creates reality. But then you act as if it all depends on your effort, as if Source needs your help, as if consciousness might forget to manifest your desire unless you micromanage every detail. Let me tell you something that will either liberate you or disturb you. Your effort is not what creates. Your assumption creates. And once you assume correctly, the effort that follows is effortless. Read that again. The effort that follows correct assumption is effortless. You are not meant to force manifestation. You are meant to assume the state, feel it real, and then allow Source to lead you naturally, easily, gracefully, to its fulfillment. Now, some of you might ask, but what do you mean by Source? What is this intelligence that will lead me? Let me be clear. When I speak of Source, I am not speaking of some external deity watching you from above. I am not speaking of a distant power that might or might not answer your prayers. Source is consciousness itself. Source is the infinite intelligence that operates through your own awareness. Source is the I am that you are, But it is not the small, limited, calculating part of you that worries and plans and strategizes. It is the deeper intelligence, the subconscious creative power, the vast awareness that knows things your conscious mind cannot know, sees paths your physical eyes cannot see, and arranges circumstances your limited understanding could never orchestrate. This source, this infinite intelligence within you, knows every person, every opportunity, every resource, every synchronicity that can bring your desire into manifestation. It knows the shortest path. It knows the most elegant solution. It knows the bridge of incidents that will lead from here to there with perfect precision. But here is what you must understand. This intelligence can only guide you when you stop trying to guide it. Think of it this way. Imagine you hired the world's greatest guide to lead you through a vast forest to a destination you've never seen. This guide knows every path, every shortcut, every safe route. They have walked this forest 1,000 times. But instead of following the guide, you keep running ahead, choosing your own paths, arguing with their directions, insisting you know better. You exhaust yourself climbing over obstacles the guide would have helped you walk around. You get lost in thickets the guide would have led you past. You waste hours going in circles because you wouldn't trust their expertise. This is what you do with Source. This is what you do with the infinite intelligence within you. You ask for guidance, but you don't follow it. You ask for a way to be made, but you insist on paving it yourself. You ask consciousness to lead you, but you keep grabbing the steering wheel. And then you wonder why the journey is so hard, why manifestation feels like such a struggle, why you keep hitting walls instead of walking through open doors. Now, some of you might be thinking, but doesn't the law require action? Don't I have to do something? Yes. But there is a vast difference between forced action and inspired action, between desperate doing and natural unfolding, between pushing the river and moving with the current. Let me explain. When you assume the state of your wish fulfilled, when you occupy the consciousness of already being, having, or experiencing what you desire, something remarkable happens. You don't become passive. You don't sit on your couch waiting for miracles to drop from the sky. Instead, you become naturally guided. Ideas arise in your mind. Impulses move you. Intuitions direct you. Opportunities appear. People contact you. Events synchronize. And when you act from this place, the action feels easy. It feels right. It feels like you're being pulled forward rather than pushing forward. This is inspired action. This is what it means to let Source lead you. I'll give you a concrete example. A woman once came to me wanting to move to a different city. She had been trying for months. She had been sending applications, making phone calls, networking desperately. She was exhausting herself with effort. Nothing was working. I asked her, "What state are you occupying as you do all this?" She said, "The state of someone who desperately needs to get out of here. Someone who hates where they are and is trying to escape." And there was the problem. She was acting from the old state, from lack, from desperation, from "I need this to happen." And all her frantic effort was simply perpetuating that state of needing. I told her, stop all the forcing. Stop all the desperate activity. First, go within. Assume you are already living in your new city. Feel what it feels like to wake up there. Feel the satisfaction of having already made the move. Occupy that state until it becomes natural to you. She did this, and something interesting happened. All her frantic activity stopped. She didn't quit her job or abandon her life. She simply stopped pushing. She rested in the assumption, and within 2 weeks she received an unexpected call. A friend she hadn't spoken to in years had moved to the exact city she desired. They needed someone with her exact skills. Could she come for an interview? She went. She got the position. She moved. Everything unfolded with such ease that she told me later it felt like magic. But it wasn't magic. It was the natural movement of consciousness when you stop interfering. You see, when she was forcing and pushing, she was blocking the very channels through which her manifestation could arrive. Her desperation created noise. Her frantic energy closed doors. Her anxious activity prevented her from hearing the whispers of Source. But when she stopped, when she rested in the assumption, when she allowed Source to lead, the path appeared, not through her planning, not through her effort, but through the perfect orchestration of infinite intelligence. This is what I mean by letting Source lead you. Now, how do you know when Source is leading you versus when you are forcing things through your own limited will? There are distinct signs. Learn to recognize them. First, ease. When Source is leading you, things flow. Doors open easily. Conversations unfold naturally. Opportunities appear without strain. There is a quality of rightness, of synchronicity, of course this is happening. When you are forcing, everything is hard. You encounter constant resistance. You have to push, convince, manipulate. Nothing flows. Everything requires maximum effort for minimum result. Second, energy. When Source leads you, you feel energized even by action. There is a lightness to your movement. You are excited. You are curious. You feel pulled forward by enthusiasm rather than pushed forward by desperation. When you are forcing, you feel drained. Every step exhausts you. You have to motivate yourself. You have to override your fatigue. You collapse at the end of the day depleted. Third, timing. When Source leads you, timing is perfect. Things happen when they need to happen. The right person calls at the right moment. The opportunity appears exactly when you're ready for it. There is a sense of divine timing. When you are forcing, timing is always off. You're too early or too late. You miss connections. You arrive to find doors already closed. You're constantly fighting the clock. Fourth, peace. When Source leads you, there is an underlying peace even in the midst of action. You know you are on the right path. You trust the unfolding. There is a calm certainty beneath all your movement. When you are forcing, there is constant anxiety. You worry whether it will work. You second guess every decision. You lie awake at night running scenarios. There is no peace. Learn to read these signs. They will tell you whether you are flowing with Source or fighting against it. So, the question becomes, how do you actually do this? How do you stop forcing and start allowing Source to lead you? Let me give you the specific method. Step 1. Assume the end. This is always the first step. Always. You must occupy the state of the wish fulfilled. You must feel yourself already being, having, or experiencing what you desire. Do not skip this step. Do not think you can let Source lead you to something you have not first assumed in consciousness. You must plant the seed before the harvest can come. So, before anything else, go within. Construct your scene. Feel it real. Occupy the state. Do this until the assumption feels natural, until it takes on the tones of reality, until you know it is finished. Step 2. Surrender the how. This is where most people struggle. After assuming the end, they immediately begin planning how it will happen. They start strategizing, calculating, plotting the route. Stop. Release the how completely. It is not your job to figure out how your desire will manifest. That is consciousness's job. That is Source's job. Your job is to assume the state. Source's job is to materialize it. Say to yourself, I know what I desire. I have assumed it in consciousness. I feel it real. And now I surrender the method of its arrival. I trust that infinite intelligence knows the way. Step 3. Listen for the impulse. Once you have assumed the state and surrendered the how, become very attentive to inner guidance. Not anxious, not desperate, but gently attentive. Ideas will arise. Subtle impulses will move in you. Quiet knowings will direct you. An urge to call someone. A pull to visit a certain place. A whisper to take a specific action. These are not random. These are Source leading you. These are the bridge of incidents beginning to form. Step 4. Follow the ease. When an impulse arises, test it against the signs I gave you earlier. Does it feel easy? Does it energize you? Does the timing feel right? Is there peace in it? If yes, follow it. Take the action, make the call, send the email, go to the place. But do it from the state of already having your desire, not from desperation to get it. If it feels forced, draining, anxiety-producing weight, that is not source leading. That is your old state trying to reassert control. Step 5. Trust the unfolding. This is perhaps the hardest part. Once you have taken inspired action, you must trust the process. You must allow events to unfold without grabbing back control. Things may not happen as quickly as your impatient ego wants. The path may take unexpected turns. There may be delays that your conscious mind cannot understand. But if you have truly assumed the state, if you have genuinely surrendered to source, then every delay is purposeful. Every detour is divine. Every unexpected turn is leading you to something better than what your limited mind had planned. Trust this. Rest in this. Know that the infinite intelligence within you is orchestrating circumstances with precision you could never achieve through forced effort. Step 6. Remain in the state. Throughout this entire process, the impulses, the actions, the unfolding, you must remain in the state of the wish fulfilled. Do not slip back into lack. Do not return to the old consciousness of needing, wanting, hoping. Live from the end. Think from fulfillment. Feel from satisfaction. When you do this, when you truly let source lead while remaining anchored in the assumption, manifestation becomes inevitable. Not because you made it happen, but because you allowed it to happen. Now, here is something that confuses many people. They ask, Neville, how can I surrender control while also maintaining certainty? How can I let go while also knowing it is done? This seems like a paradox, but it is not. Let me explain. Surrendering control means releasing your grip on the method, the timing, the specific path your manifestation will take. It means acknowledging that your limited conscious mind does not have the wisdom to orchestrate all the details. But maintaining certainty means remaining absolutely firm in the knowledge that your assumption is law, that what you have impressed upon consciousness must externalize, that the end is assured even if the means are unknown. You surrender the how while maintaining certainty about the what. Think of it like planting a seed. You do not dig up the seed every day to check if it's growing. You do not try to manually construct the plant. You do not control the exact shape of every leaf and the precise timing of every growth stage. You surrender all of that to the intelligence within the seed itself. But do you doubt that the seed will grow? Do you worry that perhaps no plant will come? No. You are certain. You know that if you have planted good seed in good soil, a plant will emerge. The specific details of how the seed accomplishes this are surrendered, but your certainty about the outcome is absolute. This is the balance. This is how you let source lead while maintaining unwavering faith. You know your desire is coming. You are absolutely certain, but you release your tight grip on exactly how it will arrive, through whom it will come, and when it will appear in precise timing. And in this balance, in this surrender paired with certainty, there is tremendous peace. You are neither passive nor aggressive. You are neither resigned nor controlling. You are aligned. You are flowing. You are allowing source to lead you with perfect precision to the fulfillment that already exists in consciousness. But what about those times when it feels like nothing is happening? When you've assumed the state? When you've surrendered the how? When you're listening for guidance, but you hear nothing? When days or weeks go by and no impulses come, no doors open, no signs appear? Let me tell you what is actually happening in those times. First, understand that source is always leading. Always. The infinite intelligence within you never stops working on your behalf. Never. From the moment you assume the state, consciousness begins arranging circumstances, preparing people, aligning events. But not all of this work is visible to you. Much of it happens in the invisible realm, in consciousness itself, before anything appears in the physical world. Think of it like pregnancy. There is a long period where nothing is visible. The woman knows she has conceived, but to all external observation, nothing has changed. Does this mean nothing is happening? Of course not. Tremendous growth is occurring in the unseen. This is the Sabbath I often speak of. The rest, the waiting, the period between assumption and manifestation, where you simply trust that consciousness is working even though you cannot yet see the fruit. During this time, your job is not to force something to happen. Your job is to remain faithful to your assumption, to continue occupying the state, to resist the temptation to return to the old consciousness of lack. Second, understand that sometimes the absence of impulse is itself guidance. Sometimes Source leads you by keeping you still, because the timing is not yet right, because something is still being prepared, because you are not yet ready for the next step. Learn to be comfortable in the stillness. Learn to rest in the silence. Do not interpret lack of visible movement as lack of progress. Some of the most powerful manifestations I have ever witnessed came after long periods of apparent stillness. The person assumed the state, surrendered completely, heard no impulses for weeks or even months, maintained their assumption faithfully, and then suddenly everything unfolded in rapid succession. The perfect job appeared out of nowhere. The ideal partner walked into their life unexpectedly. The money manifested through a channel they could never have predicted. Why the delay? Because consciousness was arranging multiple factors, preparing multiple people, coordinating multiple circumstances. And when everything was ready, when the bridge of incidents was fully formed, the manifestation appeared with such speed and ease that it seemed miraculous. But it was not miraculous. It was natural. It was the inevitable result of maintaining the assumption and trusting Source to lead in its own perfect timing. Let me tell you what happens when you finally learn to live this way. When you truly let Source lead you to everything you desire, you become free from the burden of control. You no longer carry the weight of figuring everything out, of making everything happen, of ensuring every detail is perfect. You plant the seed in consciousness. You occupy the state, and then you relax into the knowing that infinite intelligence is handling the rest. This does not make you passive. You still act. You still move. You still engage with life, but your action is effortless. Your movement is natural. Your engagement is joyful. You are like a dancer who has learned to follow their partner's lead so perfectly that the two move as one. There is no resistance, no stepping on toes, no fighting for control, just fluid, graceful, beautiful movement. People around you will notice something different. They will see that you are no longer anxious, no longer forcing, no longer exhausted by effort. They will see a peace in you, a confidence, a trust, and they will see that things come to you more easily than they come to others. Not because you are luckier, not because you are more favored, but because you have learned to align with the natural flow of consciousness. You have learned to let Source lead. Your life becomes a series of synchronicities. The right people appear at the right time. The right opportunities open exactly when you need them. Resources flow to you through unexpected channels. Problems resolve themselves with elegant simplicity. And through it all you remain peaceful, because you know you are being led. You know you are being guided by an intelligence far greater than your limited conscious mind. You know you are held in the hands of consciousness itself. This is the life I am inviting you into. Not a life of striving, but a life of flow. Not a life of forcing, but a life of allowing. Not a life of exhausting effort, but a life of effortless unfolding. My friends, tonight you have a choice to make. You can continue as you have been. Pushing, forcing, controlling, exhausting yourself trying to orchestrate every detail of your manifestations. You can keep fighting the river, keep climbing upstream, keep bearing the burden of making everything happen through your limited understanding. Or you can surrender. You can assume the state of your wish fulfilled and then release control of the how. You can become still enough to hear the whispers of Source, You can learn to recognize inspired action and follow it with trust. You can allow the infinite intelligence within you to lead you easily, naturally, perfectly to everything you desire. The choice is yours. But I tell you, one way leads to exhaustion and frustration. The other leads to peace and manifestation beyond what you could plan. Tonight, before you sleep, assume the state of one thing you desire. Feel it real. Make it vivid. Occupy it fully. And then, and this is the key, say these words. It is done in consciousness. I surrender the how. I trust Source to lead me, and I will follow the ease. Then rest. Trust. Wait for the impulse. And when it comes, when that gentle knowing arises, when that inspiration moves in you, follow it. Follow the ease. Follow the flow. Follow Source. And watch as your life transforms from effort to grace, from struggle to synchronicity, from forcing to flowing. You were never meant to do this alone. You were never meant to carry the burden of orchestration. You were meant to assume and allow, to conceive and receive, to imagine and let Source lead you to it. Go now, plant your seed in consciousness, and then step back and watch the infinite intelligence within you grow you a garden beyond anything you could construct with effort. Good night, and may you rest in the arms of Source, being led with perfect precision to everything your heart desires. This is Best of Lectures. I will see you in the next video.